Yes, friends. So with this, now we have another special guest with us for the keynote address. He is Professor Brahm Prakash Prithia ji. He is an esteemed academician with rich academic administration and research experience, having the distinction of being associated with renowned organizations at apex positions in education domain as well as in corporate with India and within India and abroad. He is alumnus of IIM Ahmedabad. He has held numerous roles throughout his vast experience of teaching and academic leadership, such as professor at IRMA Anand, professor and director at IIFM Bhopal, and director in various organizations and institutions. Dr. Pethia has also served as member board of governors in various organizations such as IIFM, MOEF, Government of India, Forest Development Corporation of Maharashtra. He is also resource faculty of international program at Asian Institute of Technology, Bangkok, Thailand, AIT Center at Hanoi, Vietnam, and Indira Gandhi National Forest Academy, Dehradun. He has also completed a number of consultancy assignments for various organizations, including Government of India and World Bank projects. We welcome you, Professor Brahm Prakash ji. You have given your precious time to address this audience over here. Over to you for your keynote address, sir. Yes, you are audible, sir.
I am audible, right? So, thank you very much for inviting me. Actually, Rahul ji and Chandar ji, I am really thankful for inviting me. But only I have one complaint, that you have kept my session after Professor Naveen Mittal ji and Professor Rajiv Kumar ji, and they have spoken so well and covered so many points. So I have very little to add on it. When the ASMA, they have started this school conclave, the National Education Policy Suggestions and Strategies for the 21st century education. It means the ASMA is looking for the future. When we talk about the NEP 2020, it is a very much desire to fulfill the need at that times, because we are talking about the future. There are too many challenges will be there in implementation. The policy is excellent, but on the other side, there also has to be political willingness in the states to adopt in toto, and which will add on to the success. When we talk about the policy, the first of all, I would like to talk about the gross enrollment ratio. When we talk about that elementary level sometime back, which is 2015-16, it was 96%. I'm talking about the very primary, this thing. But when it comes to the middle school, it was 80%. And when it goes to the senior secondary, that had got down that ratio to 56%. Means there is a lot of dropout between the primary education to the senior higher secondary education. The best part of the new policy is to take the cognizance of such dropouts and propose to take basically two measures which I have found, and that's why I want to bring it out. The efforts has to be made to convince their parents. That was one of the thing which has been mentioned. But more important, being a skill-based university, our point, our mind, our eyes goes to this thing, because it has been mentioned to start skill-based courses and training as a part of syllabus during the period from 6th standard to the 12th standard segment, so that if someone has to withdraw from the various unavoidable socioeconomic regions, there can be a number of socioeconomic regions, then such skilled students will be very much economically productive by starting contributing to the local economy on one side and to their family on the other. Therefore, an associated policy regarding the apprenticeship, internship, embedded degree programs are also envisaged to increase the employability. So these two things, One is starting the skill-based programs right from the 6th class onwards. And you should also, what I say, that you associate the apprenticeship or internship, which should be embedded into the degree programs which are non-professional in nature, to generate the employability. So this has really attracted me, and these are, I found them very useful. And since I am working in a skill-based, first skill-based university of the country, it seems that these things are made for us. As I see, professional as well as the technical courses already have the apprenticeship on job training, summer training, compulsory internship, etc. But the part of existing curriculum for the non-professional courses like Bachelor of Arts or some courses of humanities or the languages may not have this component of internship. So I would like to mention that it is predicted to the age-wise population figures that by 2030, we are going to have the largest working age population in India. So if this internship, if we have these kind of what you call this internship embedded programs on the humanities or these kind of programs, they certainly make the people professional and employed in the industry too. Now, how to tackle this problem, which is going to come 10 years from now, when we have a largest working age population in India? Now we have two options: do nothing and let everything to go as it is, or secondly, being a management student, we would like to look for every opportunity and we would like to capitalize on every opportunity by making them relevant in terms of providing employment opportunities. On the other hand, we also have to predict the industry's need by 2030 in terms of skill required for providing employment. I am happy to share with you this ISET group of universities already practicing the same, which has come to the policy now. For the non-professional courses, the new policy directs to introduce apprenticeship embedded programs, and that is to improve employability with the general stream of students also. Means the focus has to domain specific learning outcome through apprenticeship as an internship program. It is found that 85% of the children, the brain development basically occurs at the age of 6 years or before. And that's why there was a need to stimulate the brain in the early years. And that is why we have come with the formula of 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. The basic reading, writing, and more importantly, the numeracy skills need to be built achieving the age of 6 years. And then the students will come into the primary and then they come to the middle. Now, first 5 years, of course, the foundation as predicted in the policy. First 3 years will be preschool like nursery, KG1, KG2, and 2 years standard 1 and 2. But after when they come to the next level, then there has to be a slowly and slowly input of certain kind of what you call it certain inputs which is related to the skill based. A very preliminary skill based thing can be introduced at the initial years and slowly can go up to the 12th. So when suppose they drop out at 12th, they will be able to contribute to the economy very well. Initially, there are the biggest the biggest change was made in the 4 years UG degree program with an option of entry and exit at various stages. This is the new thing which have been introduced. It means if you have gone into a particular course and you would like to exit at any time, and whatever the course you have covered, that credit will be transferred to the other new course. Of course, there will be certain rules and regulations, and this will be first tried to the premium institutes. This 4 years course, about 20 identified premium institutions, and rest of the other universities, they have to continue with the 3 years undergraduate program. But suppose once this has become successful, then this is going to be very, very good innovative, in which you will have options of entry and exit at various stages. And I would like this thing, there is a credit transfer system which will be experimental through the academic credit bank. It means if I'm doing certain courses after 12th and I have done certain things and which I can deposit my credits, and I can again go to the, I can exist and enter into the some other program where this relevant credit will be taken into account. So this is a very good innovations, and this will give the lot of flexibility. How it will be implemented, that has to be seen, but this is really out of way thinking which has been brought into the new policy, and I really, this has attracted me a lot. Initially, the multiple entry exit options will be introduced in 20 identified institute, as I mentioned it. Now, I have one point here to make. The government should identify the top NRIF ranked universities or the institutions. In every state, we have number of academic institutions, number of universities. So whatever the universities are the academic institutions which had been ranked in their states on the top, they should be identified with a priority to impart the skill-based these the programs, and this priority given should be given to the skill-based universities to carry out also the other programs, that is a teachers training, because the teachers who are there, they cannot teach the skill base because they have not been trained in the B.Ed and other things. They have been trained in the academic courses, but to teach the skill based courses requires a different kind of teaching skills, and therefore we require certain what you call it, certain mechanism to make our teachers to provide this kind of skills, this kind of skill to teach the skill training. So certain universities or the academics can be institutions can be identified with a proper budget so that the uh, uh, trainings can be imparted and the people, the teachers can be trained in these things. So I would like to mention here that as the professional as well as the technical courses already have that apprenticeship, etc. And this I have mentioned to it. I would like to mention that it is predicted through the age-wise population figures that by the year 2030, we are going to have the largest working population. One more thing which is mentioned in the policy is the availability of the bilingual teachers with the English and in the, as a mother tongue, because it has been envisaged that if we are teaching in a mother tongue, the people are able to grasp more. But at the same time, we also require to have the certain things which in English. So how to have a trained teachers in both the languages, the required in future to continue this to be a challenge as such. To me, it seems that focus is more on the outcome rather than the inputs. But input is also equally important where to get the desired output. And therefore, the proper training of the teachers and the entire infrastructure is also to be seen it. In the policy, when we talk about 2020, there is little has been talked about making the teachers enabled to deliver what have been expected as an outcome of the policy as such. So that is also thought process. We have to some work out the certain way of delivering that also. And also the gross enrollment ratio, how to increase it, because our target is very, very large that we have to bring everybody, but how to bring it, that also we have to think over it as such. So these are certain thoughts, certain I have skipped because of the time constraints. So thank you very much.